In this article called 13 Rules That Expire, they discuss the rules that are taught in the early grades that eventually get pushed out as they get older. Some of these rules include that multiplication and addition make a number larger, and that division and subtraction make a number smaller. And both of these are not entirely true. Throughout the article, it not only gives rules that expire, but also gives teachers a different way to phrase things in rules that do not expire as they get older. The first quote I chose was, "Many of these rules expire when students expand their knowledge of our number system beyond whole numbers and are forced to change their perception of what can be included in referring to a number." I found this to be extremely important because I know how confusing it was when the rules I once held true fell apart. I found this to be interesting because it also really pinpointed the time when the rules started to change. It discussed how when you broaden your knowledge of number systems, that things begin to change of what you once held true, and I couldn't agree more. The second quote I chose was, "Keywords become particularly troublesome when students begin to explore multi-step word problems because they must decide which keywords work with which component of the problem." This quote reminded me of whenever I was younger and first learned about word problems. They always confused me and totally threw me off when I got older because the terminology began to change. Word problems are tricky enough on their own, but when the words start changing and the meanings are different, it makes everything more complicated. The last quote I chose was, "No one wants students to realize in the upper elementary grades or in middle school that the teachers taught rules that do not hold true." I know that when I got older and everything started to change, I no longer liked my old teachers. I honestly felt they had lied to me and wished they would have just told me the truth about the rule and how it was subject to change later in life. I think that it would have been helpful for teachers to teach it as a rule for that point in time, but also to make sure that the children understood that it is subject to change later. For instance, adding and multiplying always makes a bigger number. That doesn't always hold true whenever you get older, but is something that you're taught whenever you were younger. Overall, I found this article to be very interesting and also very eye-opening. I know that as a child, math got confusing when the rules changed, and it would have been much more helpful to have been taught correctly in the first place. I think that by reading this article, it has better helped me to understand the terminology I should use when teaching younger children math. Like I said earlier, math is confusing enough on its own at times. We as teachers do not need to make it more confusing by teaching rules that will expire. Thank you.